Chances are you heard about the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting, and you're probably curious, how do you apply it the right way for serious weight loss? In this video, I'm going to outline 3 easy ways to implement fasting for really incredible results. The old way of thinking was that when you skip a meal, or maybe even skip many meals, like with what I'm going to share with you today, these different methods, your body goes into this starvation mode where it actually starts to hold on to fat. But here's the thing, the body's not that stupid. We don't eat food, store that food as food energy, as body fat, and then don't eat food and start to break down the metabolism and muscle and proteins, etc. That really doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, there was a study that showed after 4 consecutive days of fasting, the metabolism improved 13%. So it didn't slow down, it did the exact opposite. And here is why. The number 1 priority for the human body in the innate intelligence is survival. The body will do anything and everything possible to survive. So every one of your cells, all 70 trillion cells inside of your body, is genetically hardwired to practice fasting. Back in the day, it was the famine that our ancestors were forced into. Our ancestors did not have food available to them all the time, so by default, they had to fast. They had to go through times of famine. And when the body is perceiving that you're going through a famine, amazing things happen. The body thinks, okay, you are fasted, you are in a famine. It doesn't understand that you could click on your phone, hit a button, and get a millennial knocking on your door from Uber Eats or DoorDash with food. It doesn't comprehend that. It doesn't comprehend the fact that you could walk to the kitchen and eat food. You are genetically hardwired for the old school. So the body ramps up counter-regulatory hormones. These hormones run counter to insulin. When insulin drops during a fast, these hormones increase. Glucagon, cortisol, human growth hormone, noradrenaline. This is the sympathetic tone getting activated by the innate intelligence because the body thinks you need to survive. I need to flood this body full of energy and focus and ramp up the metabolism so it could go out there and hunt and kill. But we are blessed to be able to get food whenever we want. We don't have to use those resources to hunt and kill. We use it to feel good and burn fat. And how fasting works for weight loss is simply put. I'm going to share with you a brilliant analogy from my friend and colleague and mentor, Dr. Jason Fung. There's 2 compartments that you need to access. One of those compartments is your body fat. You want to be able to tap into your body fat, burn fat, lose weight, feel good. We're going to relate that to your freezer that is stored in your basement. But then we have the other compartment, which we'll call your sugar reserves, aka your glycogen reserves, which is stored in your liver and muscle cells. You store about 2,000 calories worth of reserved energy called your sugar reserves. We'll compare that to your freezer that's attached to your refrigerator in your kitchen. So many people who have trouble losing weight, they have trouble accessing their fat stores, the freezers in the basement. So the ultimate goal is to use the freezer that's attached to your fridge for energy. Use that first, and then what's next, you could actually access the freezer in the basement, which is your body fat. What's gonna allow you access to your body fat, aka the freezers in your basement, is when you lower insulin. When insulin is high, you're gonna be using your refrigerator day in, day out, never accessing the freezer in the basement, never accessing your body fat. So when you fast, amazing things happen, I just mentioned, but you lower insulin, and boom, voila, you have access to your body fat. That's how it works. I'm gonna share with you right now 3 ways to do that for amazing results. The first way to practice fasting for serious weight loss is an 18-6 method combined with early time restricted feeding. Let's unpack that real quick. An 18-6 method means during a 24-hour period, 18 hours out of the 24 hours, you're in a fasted state. You're having water, some sea salt, your electrolyte, maybe some black coffee and tea, but nothing else. No meals, you're not raising glucose and insulin, you're not starting the digestive process, you're in a fasted state. Then you have a 6-hour feeding window, meaning you have your calories, your meals, your protein, your macros within the 6-hour window. Now in the past, I would have said to skip breakfast and have lunch and dinner. Now through research that has come out, a lot of research that has come out, I'm more of a fan of having breakfast and lunch and skipping dinner. Why do I say that? Well, because there was a study that came out from the University of Alabama from Dr. Courtney Peterson, and they looked at 2 different test groups. One group was performing an 18-6, but they were eating breakfast and lunch, skipping dinner. The other group, same fasting schedule, the only difference is that they had lunch and dinner and skipped breakfast. And something really remarkable happened in this study. First of all, it was a really well-controlled study in a lab setting, and they measured different metrics like insulin, blood pressure, glucose. But something that I noticed from the study is that when they measured autophagy, which is your body's ability to regenerate cells and repair cells and clean out the junk, essentially, there was a 22% increase in autophagy after 4 days with the early time-restricted feeding group versus the other group. Not only that, they looked at the 𝙎𝙬𝘽𝙎𝘾 gene, which is a gene that has been shown in research to be this anti-aging gene. It protects the telomeres, which protects your DNA, which helps you live a long life and prevent disease. And they saw after 4 days, the early time-restricted group had a 10% increase in the 𝙎𝙬 gene. So the optimal schedule on this 18-6 is going to be 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is your eating window, your feeding window. What are you eating during that window? The number one thing to prioritize is protein. You want to hit your protein requirement in that 6-hour window between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. That could come from 2 meals or 3 meals. The goal is to get it all in the 6 hours. Now, how much protein should you be having? What I tell my students is to aim to get 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. For example, let's say you weigh 220 pounds, but your ideal body weight, the goal weight you want to get to, is 160 pounds. Therefore, you're going to consume within those 6 hours 160 grams of protein, ideally animal-based protein over plant-based protein. Now, for carbohydrates, what we want to do is keep your total carbs in that window of 6 hours, keep the total carbs under 50 grams for that window, which is going to allow insulin to stay low and get you into ketosis as well, which has an added benefit. Now, for fat, you just want to get the naturally occurring fat that comes with the protein. There's not really a marker to hit, just get the fat that comes with the protein. So that is the first method, early time restricted feeding. You're going to be eating most days 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., getting your protein, getting your fat, lowering your carbs. The second way is a 24-hour water fast. You're going to perform this only once per week. The benefits of a 24-hour water fast are numerous. Of course, you'll lower insulin even more, be able to tap into your body fat, you'll get more of this autophagy and repair, but what it does for your gut is pretty incredible. There was a study that came out from MIT that showed a 24-hour water fast strengthened the intestinal stem cells in mice, which is very important because a lot of people have leaky gut, digestive issues, and just a 24-hour fast can be a great way to heal that. There's also some research that shows a 24-hour fast raised human growth hormone 1,300% in women and up to 2,000% in men. Human growth hormone is a very important anti-aging hormone, fat-burning hormone, and muscle-building hormone. Celebrities and musicians and actors, they pay thousands of dollars every month to their doctor to get human growth hormone injected into them because of all those amazing benefits. Now, there are side effects to getting it injected, but what if you could get the same benefits endogenously through your body? That's what you could achieve with the 24-hour fast. So how do you practice this on your schedule? Simply go breakfast to breakfast 1 day per week, or that could be lunch to lunch or dinner to dinner, but like we established, it's probably better to do the breakfast to breakfast. So for example, if it's Tuesday and you had your breakfast at 8 a.m., you'll finish eating and then go all the way until Wednesday 8 a.m. to break the fast. 24-hour fast, you get those benefits. The third method is a little bit more advanced, and I recommend you do this if you're more of a seasoned faster. You want to think of fasting as a muscle that you develop over time. So let's say you've been doing the 18-6, feeling good. You threw in a 24-hour fast, you're feeling good. Now it's ready to ramp things up with a 36-hour fast. Also called a monk fast or a fat burner fast. This has profound benefits to really tapping into body fat, helping with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, not to mention all the brain benefits and what it does to reset the dopamine receptor sites in the brain as well. There was a study that came out that showed a 36-hour water fast once a week had incredible benefits. This study had participants eat within a 12-hour feeding window and then 36-hour fast and then 12-hour eating window, 36-hour fast. It's kind of like alternate day fasting, but it showed some really cool results. Within those 7 days, there was an average of 7.7 pounds of fat loss. There's also more autophagy. It's also a great way to change your palate and reset sugar cravings and carb cravings. So how often should you be doing the 36-hour water fast? Now, it's important to consider this. Fasting is a stress to your body, but not all stress is bad. Fasting is a stress to the body, so is exercise, so is cold exposure like jumping into a cold bath or cryotherapy, so is getting sunshine, so is exercise. So the stress is only bad when your body does not adapt. When your body does adapt to stress, this is called hormesis, you get stronger, you get better, you get healthier. So 36-hour water fast, while I love it, is a stress to the body, and I don't recommend doing this every single week. I recommend doing this every other week. So the protocol is as such. Most days you want to complete the 18-6 intermittent fasting schedule, eating mostly in the day, and then you want to throw in a 24-hour water fast once a week, and then that 36-hour fast to really tap into body fat every other week. Now, I did mention at the beginning of this video, there are a couple times where you probably do not want to practice too much fasting. Here's what you want to consider. If you are going through a lot of stress, whether it's mental, emotional stress from a relationship or work, whatever it is, you're looking at the news and the news is driving you crazy with all the madness out there. If you have a lot of stress going on, you don't want to do too much fasting. As I mentioned, fasting is already a stress, and if you have a lot of mental stress or other areas of stress, it's too much for your body to adapt to. So make sure you do more of the advanced tips like the 24-hour fast or a 36-hour fast during a week where you're mastering your stress. You also want to make sure you're doing it during a week where you're getting quality sleep. If you're sleep deprived and you're not getting good sleep, you probably don't want to do too much fasting. Now, an 18-6 should be okay, but a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast, I'm not sure if your body's going to adapt to the stress with the lack of sleep. The last consideration for the ladies out there who have a monthly cycle, a menstrual cycle, the week before your period is the week where you do not want to practice much fasting and you want to get yourself out of ketosis. I call it keto flexing. This is because there are two hormones you want to build up that week for a healthy monthly cycle, progesterone and estrogen. And guess what? You don't build those hormones with aggressive fasting and ketosis. You build them with healthy carbs and feasting. That's why a lot of ladies out there experience intense cravings for sugar, chocolate, carbohydrates the week before their period. This is the innate intelligence, the incredible innate intelligence showing you need to build some hormones. Go get the glucose spike, go get the insulin spike, eat those healthy carbs, make those hormonal conversions. Once you have your period, the bleed week, you could be aggressive with fasting. Now, if you love this video, you're gonna love a brand new video I just published on 7 healthy foods that are actually not healthy to stop consuming right away. Only 6.8% of adults have optimal cardiometabolic health. Here are the 3 main reasons why fruit is not a good idea. What are the top 5 things that we do that raise uric acid? Number 1, fructose. Number 2, fructose. Number 3, fructose. Number 4, alcohol. And number 5, high purine foods.